So we'll be looking at simplifying ratios, continuation on that, but this time we're not whole numbers, this time fractions. So the first example we're looking at under this is 2 over 5 ratio 1 over 4. Now remember, if you recall what we did when we dealt with whole numbers, we said that A ratio B is the same thing as A over B. That tells you something. Can you see something there? That this ratio, this column means division. This line here means division, our division line, right? So how do we write this? So you can say that 2 over 5, since it's a fraction, this symbol is going to be divided by 1 over 4. Now if you remember your rules on division of fraction, to divide a fraction by a fraction, especially whether it's a proper fraction or an improper fraction, like here we have a proper fraction. Why is it a proper fraction? Because the number on top is smaller than the number under. Same thing, it is a proper fraction. So if you have fractions like this, how do you divide them? This number on the right, you overturn it. Your denominator becomes your numerator, numerator becomes your denominator, then the sign here turns to multiplication. Just a brief review. So from here, what do we have here? We have that 2 over 5 times, overturn this. What would that be? 4 over 1. What do we do from here? Multiply your numerator. Because they are not common factors. You can't cancel up and down. You can't cancel up and down. They are not common factors here. So what do we do? Just multiply the numerators. So 2 times 4 gives us 8. All over 5 times 1 is 5. Can you write this as a ratio for me in your books? It gives us what? 8 ratio 5. We'll be taking the second example shortly. Example 2 says, simplify 2 whole number 1 over 2 ratio 3 over 5. Now, in this case, what we have here is a mixed fraction, and here we have a proper fraction. Just a brief review. A mixed fraction is a fraction with a whole number and a proper fraction. We've explained what a proper fraction is from the previous example. So the first thing we do here is change mixed fraction, change mixed fraction to improper fraction. That's the first thing you do when you are given a mixed fraction. You change to improper fraction. The next thing you simplify, like we did in the previous question. So what will you do here? 2 times 2 gives us 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. That gives us 5 over 2. Remember, we said that the symbol ratio also means divide. So this is divided by 3 over 5. So from here, what do we do here? This sign changes to multiplication. Then we overturn this fraction. So this will be 5 over 2 times 5 over 3. Any common factors here? No, there are no common factors. You can't cancel. No common factor here. No common factor here. Either do you have up and down. So what do? We multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator. This gives us 25 over 6. Now when we get to this point, what do? You write as a ratio. As a ratio, what would that give us? I'm sure somebody must have finished it. That gives us 25 ratio 6. We'll be moving over to the third example. And I'm sure by then, we'll have a full understanding of the topic. Good. This is the number 3 example. It says 2 whole number 2 over 3 ratio 1 whole number 1 over 6. Take note here, both are mixed fractions. So what do we do? From what we said in the previous example, what did we say? Convert to improper fractions. That's the first thing. So 3 times 2 gives us 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. So that gives us 8 over 3. We have converted this. The next one will now be divided. Remember, this column also means division. So 6 times 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. That's 7 over 6. What's the next thing? I'm sure somebody is working with me. This gives us 8 over 3. Convert this one to multiplication. This is times 6 over 7. You overturn this. Here you can see there is a common factor here. What's the common factor? 3. 3 can go. 3 here is 1. 3 here is 2. Can anything cancel again? No, nothing can cancel. So 8 times 2 gives us 16. All over 1 times 7 is 7. These are our reduced fractions. So back as a ratio is 16:7. Now, no matter how the fraction is placed, this is what you do. Whether it's a proper fraction, improper fraction, or a mixed fraction. This is how you reduce or simplify fractions in ratio. The next set of exercises, first of all, we looked at whole numbers, we looked at fractions. We're going to be looking at simplifying ratios when we are dealing with decimals. Just hold on. I'm sure you'll be glad you did.